That was good. Good fight. All right, we're gonna look at this build that Jaden just dropped in the chat. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Perfect. And let's talk about it here for a sec. So if you're like a buildcraft guy or gal, I guess perk up your ears, 'cause this might be something cool for you to check out. So it's a cosplay build. Soul Bad Guy. He's a character from the Guilty Gear series, if you've ever heard of that old school PlayStation and now PC series. Soul Bad Guy. So SL 128, starting class Pyro, 50, 14, 30, 8, 20, 12, 38, 38, 7. Okay. So right away you can tell it's a Pyro build. And he's going 12 and 20 and 12. And that's because of Onyx Blade, it looks like. That's minimum. No. Why is he going 20? Let's rock. Yeah, it's from the series. Why is he going... Okay, I don't want to make a bunch of changes all of a sudden, but I have a couple questions and I'll go through them as we go through the build. So the fashion we can't touch because it's a cosplay build, so not much to say about that. Golden Crown, Alva armor, Konix's wrap, Alva leggings. This one is pretty good for the defense to weight ratio. The Alva is pretty solid. The rest I don't know / don't think so. It's more just strictly fashion, which is fine. That's fine. Speaking about defense, let's just jump right over here. Absorption 21%, strike / it's pretty solid. I mean, when it comes to absorption for SL120 and thereabouts PvP builds, for melee builds, for casters it doesn't matter, don't get hit. But for melee builds, you want to sit somewhere between 20 and 25. That's the sweet spot. If your build is hitting 20 to 25 on the slash, I would say slash is most important because stuff like Karthus, stuff like Washing Pole, it's all slash damage. Or straight swords, they're all slash damage. So you really want the slash damage to be high. As long as it's 20 to 25%, you're good to go. The closer you get to 25, obviously the better, but it's not that big of a deal. So this one, good to go, 10 out of 10, totally fine. I like the defenses on this build. HP, let's talk about the health. 50 vigor, and he's using life ring plus ring of favor. So pretty standard, nothing too spectacular or fancy there. Standard, lot of HP, really, really good. Some argue that the most important stat in all the Souls games, doesn't matter 1, 2, 3, whatever, is vigor, is your HP. How much health do you have? Because that dictates, this is how, you can make more mistakes, bottom line. You can mess up more. So 50 vigor, I think it's fine. Some say the min-max stopping point in this game is 44. After 44, it drops off. But honestly, it's fine. It's one of those things where up to 50, I still feel like the more the merrier. It's really good. And in unembered, you're 1500, which is almost, 250 to 350 more HP than most players unembered. Because most players unembered, they're going to be sitting at like 1250-ish health. So some a little bit more, some a little bit less, but yeah. So that's really nice. Attunement 14, that's fine for the things that you picked. 30 endurance, that's fine. I think endurance is one of those stats where you can cut. It's like Bloodborne. Wait one sec, sorry. Alright, cool. It's like Bloodborne where if you need to cut from stats, endurance is a fantastic place to cut from. So I think it's fine. 30, you can go less if you want. It's up to you. I'll leave it at what you picked, but that's fine. Vitality, so there's no vitality because you don't need it. The equip load is fine. Strength 20. Again, let me check the chat. Maybe I forgot to tweak down the strength. It used to have demon fists. Oh, okay. Okay, I see. Yeah. So then if that's the case, then definitely drop it down to the minimum. Because I thought maybe you're using something else that you want to swap to and you want to two-hand it. But if that's not the case, then, dude, bare minimum, 14, 12. And then I would even say pump those two, 39, 39, or even 40, because how does it go up to... Actually, no, stop at 39. It's funny, it's just like strength and dex in this game. You don't really want to go 40, 40, you want to go 39, 39, because the extra point doesn't give you enough return, I feel like. It stops scaling really well at 39 for both, for this, and these two, funnily enough. So boom, 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 boom. Minimum to wield. Stats for damage. Looks good. No hollowing, that's fine. Great Combust, Profane Flame, Chaos Bed Vestiges. Okay, so this is nice. This is okay. It's for the cosplay, I get it. So, I mean, you can't really min-max it too much, but it's going to be tough. Profane Flame is going to be tough. And Vestiges, I prefer just regular Fireball, personally. It takes less attunement, and the damage is still good. You know, and it forces you to aim, like really learn the aiming, because you can't rely on the like little bit of chip damage that you get from the chaos on the floor, the lava. You have to learn to aim it and do it right. So I prefer I think it's Fire Orb. Yeah, I think it's Fire Orb. Just regular Fire Orb. Keep it simple. Don't need the chaos one, and don't need vestiges either. So it's really up to the player though. So we talked about the stats, talked about these. Talk about the gear, talk about the health. Equip load is good. Let's talk about the equip load and the rings real quick. So, Life Ring, Ring of Favor, both really good choices for PvP builds. Sage Ring, so he casts faster, that's fine. Dark Moon Ring, this is for the extra attunement slot, so he can have the vestiges. Okay, so that's fine. I feel like if it was my build, I would retweak to not have to use Dark Moon Ring, if at all possible. I mean, it's good, don't get me wrong, +2 attunement slots, but I feel like you could stick something else in there and funk with your stats a little bit. Like, maybe go... where are the... Let's see. We're going to take this off. So you can still use Vestiges, no problem, at 18 attunement. We're going to cut this. And instead, I'm going to put... you could do Chloranthy. You could do... I mean, you're using all these Pyros, right? You need... I don't want to say need, but a Pyro damage ring would go a long way on this build. So something like... What's the... I think Witches? Is that the best... I think it's... Yeah, I think it's the Witches. So you slap on the Witches ring on this build. So you get way more damage out of the Pyro. Think of it like this: if your Vestiges is going to hit for 600 damage without the ring, with the Witch's ring, it's going to hit for now 720, because it's 20% increase. So that's pretty sizable amount. Talking difference between, you know, that extra 120 is like the difference between leaving them with a tiny little bit of life left and the ability to roll away and heal up, or killing them on the spot. So it's definitely worth it, I think. We're going with the Witch Ring. And the Sage Ring, you got to go with that. It's a great choice. So we talked about the rings. Oh, and one other thing I wanted to point out. On a build like this, you could definitely swap to like last-minute red tier stone. A lot of people, when they make their builds in this game, they put it to like equip load is like 68% or 68.5%, like way too close to 70. In the past, that was fine. But in this one, because the rings have weight, well, in DS1 that was fine, but in this one the rings have weight, so you have to account for it. So something really heavy like red tier stone, a lot of builds, if you put it on, now you're at 70% or above, and now you're slow rolling. You lose your fast roll. And so always account for that. Never finalize your build at like 68.5% or something. Always leave a little bit of room for ring swaps, assuming that you do ring swaps in your gameplay. If you don't, if that's not something that you do, then I guess it's not as important. So we talked about all that. We talked about the rings. Those are all good to go. Good. Poise, it's tough on this build because it's already a Pyro build, and you've got, you know, attunement going. You've got pretty tanky build. I would even drop this. I don't know. I make my builds 120, so personally, I would do something like this, but feel free to go higher or lower. Like, honestly, if I'm 120 and you're 130, it's basically the same. It's close enough. Close enough. It's not that big of a deal. At least not yet. Who knows? Maybe in the future that extra 10 levels will be like night and day difference. But right now, it's not that big of a difference. What else? What else can we talk about? Okay, and then let's talk about the weapon. So we talked about everything else: the absorption, health, stamina, equip load. We should talk about the poise too, and we talked about the stats and all the spells attuned. So, Pyromancy Flame, that's your Pyro Hand, that's fine. Onyx Blade, so this is one of the best weapons in the DLC. A really, really good greatsword. Has good damage, great range. Fun like weapon art that gives you a little bit of bonus damage. All around, it's a really cool, solid weapon in the DLC. I'm glad they included it because we needed another like cool, super long greatsword, and this is it, and it's pretty cool. So this is a really good choice. Like for pyro builds, if you're using a pyro build and you don't have if you're using a pyro build and you want to go greatsword and you're not rocking the onyx blade, you might be doing it wrong. Because this is what they gave us as pyros. Like, hey, here's a gift to you. Take this onyx blade. And I know because my Xbox build is a pyro build. Poise 19.44. It's tough because this is a cosplay build. So how are you going to critique the poise on a cosplay build? But even so, I want to say to be able to get the better hyper armor frames against straight sword weapon art users, you need at least 20 or 21 poise. And so if you can finagle it, if you can't, if this is the fashion period, more power to you. But if you can work it into your build, try to push the poise past and double check if it's 20 or 21. I think it's 20 though. And so that way you'll have the better hyper armor frames when you go up against straight sword hyper armor users, like straight sword weapon art users. If they go for the, let's say they're using like a longsword, right? And then they all of a sudden they're like, oh, this guy's spamming roll, or he's like really rolly. I'm gonna try to catch him with the weapon art R2, the one that has like that, you know, it kind of tracks you down almost. It's a thrusting attack. So if you like anticipate that, then you can out trade it with at least 20 points. So, and I think that's everything. I think that we talked about everything. So that's what I would do. That's how I would change the build. And if you feel like 28 is not enough, you could always drop a little bit here and pump it back here, or even cut the HP a little bit more. Because you're talking unembered, you're talking less than 30 HP difference between 42, and 44. It's the embered that's pretty chunky, 50 HP difference. I would do it like this, definitely. You get the best of this, best of this, best of this, and then something has to suffer, and so it's endurance. Something has to suffer, so it's endurance.